think.
Yeah, all right. So there we go. That's the thing. So now, do I have some kind of usual introduction? I don't do it. Like I don't have a way to start the fucking thing, do I?
What,
I don't have like a PewDiePie intro.
Hello.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's FuwaFM here.
Top of the morning. It's
Okay, you know what? No.
Hello, this
No,
is your weird
BB.
Saudi Sudanese something-ish person with FuwaFM, the shitty podcast.
B. No, I want B to introduce the podcast. B do the introduction. You're
Okay.
the YouTuber
You
for
want me to introduce it and then
He's literally banned, and you want him to do the introduction?
Yep,
Bad
we're
B.
that rebellious around here.
okay, but
No.
okay,
Just
but
introduce
I'll
it. Just be like, this is FuwaFM
I will
in some fucking weird way. Go
I'll
ahead.
pass the word to you since you're the horse later anyway. So yeah. Top of the morning, guys. It's me, B, your boy, here with another FuwaFM podcast. What everyone was waiting for, and here we are with 4 amazing people, including me, by the way. We have our host Babiker here, Real Sand King, and
Hello.
Zander. So yeah, guys, just go ahead.
Real fucking
Yeah, that's
Sand
perfect.
King?
Yep,
Dude,
yep.
we were calling him
10 out of 10,
Zander.
man.
Okay, it's Zander, man.
Yes, you got the
whatever.
name wrong
I
there.
mean, same thing, bro.
Fucking destroy it.
Yes.
Ouch.
Yeah, that would be. Yes. So as Mr. B just introduced, I am Babiker, and we are back with FuwaFM. It's probably been over a year since the last one. I think I say that every episode. But
No, it's like only 6
Probably true.
months. You're so
oh,
wrong.
6 months. Whoa. Oh,
You're
last time it was like
so
2
wrong.
months. So at least so
You're
I'm getting
so
better.
wrong,
Shaking my
Babiker.
Hey, I'm less long than last time. Last time it was like 2 months or something. But anyways, so yes, it has been a while, but we are back with another visual novel podcast, probably. So today we brought 2 new boys. We have B. Say hello there, B.
Hey, man, what's up? Hello, boys. It's me, your boy, B.
And we have Zander. Hello there. Say
Hello.
hi, Zander.
Hello, my
Okay.
good friends.
Right? And these 2 guys are relatively new to the visual novel community, at least compared to our usual old timers on the podcast. And we thought we'll discuss things since there's been a lot of change since full novel started and the visual novel scene whole thing started. So we wanted to just take a chance to take a step back and reminisce over what has gone on since things have started, what has changed in both in the visual novel scene and in full novel as a community. So without further ado, let's jump into the questions. The first question that I wanted just to spin up the topic is, what are like the recent visual novels, and what are your opinions on them? Just English. This could be English or Japanese. We could start with Mr. Zaka, since he probably is the most elite guy who actually reads the recent stuff.
Yeah, he has bad taste anyways, but yeah, he can go first.
No, you have bad taste. Everyone's taste but mine is bad. This is firmly established and you should go away and deck yourself. Anyway, so you think I have control and know stuff over new releases. But the truth is, I'm like this detached guy already that doesn't really follow anything. Maybe sometimes hype on the Japanese side, but I don't really. So, like, what's currently being hyped on the Japanese side? Well, maybe that Summer Pockets by Key was released, like, I think today or yesterday. I'm not sure if anyone knows if it's good or not yet, but interestingly, it has one of the writers from Hatsuyuki Sakura, who is known to be slightly crazy on it, which is interesting, but also it doesn't have him as the main writer, so he can't make things too crazy, so it's probably shit anyways. Except it's Key, so maybe it's good. I don't know. I don't really have an opinion. I'll probably like read the trial in 3 million years or something. But on the English front, we have like Eve Nicole, I think, was released today, and I hope I'm pronouncing it correct, and it's based on Chronicle. And also we have Maitetsu, Lolly fucking Trains, baby, which was fucked up by Sakai Project a bit, because in the main story, they managed to have like towels on my characters when we shouldn't be, but it still has some porn. So, well, if you care
Still
about
has porn.
if you care about those towels not being there and seeing with all the tits, then you should wait until the Zaka project fixes that up, and hopefully we actually will do that because fuck who is mad.
All right. Okay, so Zach gave his 2. Does anybody else? I think you're the only guy who even reads Japanese, or at least follows Japanese things to an extent.
Well, like,
I
Right?
mean,
Has anybody else even read a visual novel as of late, Mr. B?
I mean, in terms of Japanese, I think there's nothing really interesting going on. Since the market is like not in the best place right now, they focus on what sells the most, I bet, and they go
I mean,
for moiges mainly. I mean, I hate to say this word because I hate saying moiges while I speak English, but I mean Summer Pockets. Uh, Even though it's not a new game per se, I'd say that Kiniro Love Reach is like one of the latest releases of Saga Planets, for example, and they both represent basically what the market like sells right now, which is like cute games with hardly any plot at all, and they mainly focus on either the cute side of dating the girls or the comedy. But yeah, I mean, in terms of Japanese, I'm really not interested, and I think that a normal Japanese reader in general should, well, not should, but would not be interested because yeah, there's like nothing interesting going on. In terms of English, I guess that since the English releases have been ramping up recently, and readers are starting to like get a hold of more visual novels in a general sense, I guess it's more exciting. I mean, I really don't like the scene in general. There are many problems with it in general, and selling out is one of them, but that will come later. That's off topic. But
Yeah, that's
yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I mean, I
It's
don't
more in
think that's a
relation to the
problem,
fan
but
translation. Yeah, I agree.
we
But we'll go. That will be. I think that's more directly related to fan translation,
yeah.
which will be the second question. But just before we move on, Xander, have you read anything recent?
I have Babiker, but before I talk about anything I have read, I have to ask you one question. Is that alright?
Yes.
Are you a
Depends on the
racist?
question, but go ahead.
And I'm asking you seriously because I'm reading the question right now and it says opinion on recent VNs, English+Japanese. And you have clearly excluded the hundreds of thousands of Chinese visual novels as well as the
hundreds of
6 Arabic visual
thousands.
novels
All right,
that I
nice.
have
But
that I'm familiar
And
with.
the one Arabic visual novel
yeah, but
that I made Zaka read
Oh
the one
god,
time.
Xander,
even
honestly,
I'll
who cares
fucking
about
There,
Chinese
novice.
there,
visual novels
there is
anyway?
actually another confirmed one that I will send to you after this podcast. But what's going
Oh,
on,
hype.
man? Why aren't I allowed to talk about China? Jeez.
I mean,
I mean,
I,
in the full novel like definitions, we have Japanese. It's like one world, and then the West is like everything outside of it. So
So
anything
you're
that
you're,
is. So
you're
I
telling me that
assume in
Chinese
my
people
case.
aren't welcome in Fuwa novel is
exactly,
what you're
Xander.
saying,
Get over
Babiker.
it.
No, quite the contrary.
no,
They're
Chinese
who we're
people are
trying to
just English.
spread.
Very simple. Everyone
Yeah,
that's
they're
not
just
Japanese
English.
is English. Very simple. It doesn't make
Pretty much.
sense, but that's just
Yeah,
how we
this is
do
the
it there,
Fuwa
man.
way. Yeah, that's how we do it down in Fuwa.
All right. Well, to get into your clearly biased question, Babiker, in terms of the Japanese visual novels, I know absolutely nothing because my Japanese is, as you all know, quite terrible. Not suitable for reading, and I wouldn't want to say on here that I read
Sugoi
MTL or like I would get assassinated like a week later. But in terms of the English market, I do think that they are getting less bad recently. There's been some pretty good otome games, which I'm sure most people aren't interested in, but regardless.
You seem
And a
quite
lot of
fond
them
of
are.
these things, hmm?
I am.
Interesting genres.
I do generally like otome games, not because it has anything to do with playing a female or because I'm homosexual, because I'm certainly not. But
Certainly. Whoa.
Oh, wow.
certainly not,
My
sir.
apologies.
I can provide certified proof, but anyway, usually they
Certified
take
proof.
place in like more interesting settings. Like I don't know why, but if you go on the Otome tag on VNDB, like half of the Otome games will be like in the Sengoku era or the Taisho era or some other era.
That's the first. That I did not expect.
Yeah, and
Well,
I
would
think
be
it's pretty
interesting to
cool.
go.
Definitely takes you out of the normal high school setting. But yeah, I think the English market is getting better, and I can see like in maybe a few years they will be more
Yeah,
successful.
more
You know,
accessible.
selling more. Yeah.
Yes.
Why?
All right. I'll just go with a quick disclaimer that I think the most recent visual novel I've read is like, um, what's the last English visual novel that came out? What was it called? Does anyone remember?
Rewrite.
No.
Harmonia.
What the fuck?
Harmonia.
Yes, Harmonia. There we go.
Oh,
I
translation.
think Harmonia is like the latest visual novel I read. So
Okay.
not the most, you know, not the most experienced or most up to date on this kind of stuff. But I
We
will
sh-
agree with Xander's opinion. Um, One thing that I particularly like, and this is more in relation to the next question, was that most of the old visual novels that were not like readily accessible are now up in Steam, and Steam has just made visual novels a lot more relatively mainstream. It's a lot more common to just to know a person who has at least heard of visual novels these days, thanks to Steam and the like. And quite a few people who are surprising amount of like normal people who have played them. The other day I met in university a guy who read Sakura games, I think.
Oof.
Oh god.
Sakura Spirit. Yeah.
I don't think that's a good.
Oof.
That must be bad for you, man. Must feel
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah, I don't think it's positive.
I mean, hey, it's
Say-
something, man. It's not the best visual novel, but I was able to give him a few good recommendations here and there.
Oh, that's nice. He probably won't read
I'm
them.
sure he'll never read them. Yeah, I doubt it.
Oh my god, destroyed.
But anyways, moving on to the second question. This is the important part of the original purpose of the Fuwa novel community, and that is fan translation. So we have a few people here who are very, you could say, intermingled with the fan translation scene here.
Hmm.
And so I would like to hear their opinions on the current state of fan translation. And since we started with Zaka last time, we'll go back to you. What do you have to say, Mr. Zaka?
Alright, so yeah. There is this meme that's not quite true, but it's still nevertheless quite true, that all the good fan translators have these days gone on to basically do their work officially. And this isn't quite true because I still think there are a few quite good fan translators out there that really do their work on VNs, but and just still release free or for patches or whatever. But in the large amounts, it is true, and the official companies have, for better or worse, captured a lot of fan translators, and we're not getting paid, which is maybe good. But on the other hand, the commercial companies have this problem where they have to make money, and this can sometimes be detrimental to a product because they're really incentivized to cut corners in ways fan translators aren't, and it's hard to balance all of this out.
That's a
And
pretty strong
in
claim there.
general, I
No.
think
I'm gonna
that
have to make you stop right there, Zaka. Wait, did you just imply that like official translations have worse quality than fan translations?
Sometimes.
this is more in an ideal territory, but like. The ideal fan translation might be better than a commercial translation because it simply doesn't have to think about things like deadlines or making money or shit. But on the other hand, of course, they tend to come out more often, and maybe sometimes they tend to like actually come out at all with economic incentives. So it's a really hard balance. But we've seen plenty of times where where like QA has been really rushed, or like there really hasn't been good work put on something, or like a lot of bad translation practices have happened that seem to partly be, and maybe actually exacerbated by bad management or cost saving measures that wouldn't necessarily have been there in a fan translation. But of course, they can also use those in fan translation, so it's not really in like not really an absolute
A
here,
strict
and
rule. Yeah.
I'm not completely sure what the effect is.
Yeah, I mean,
So
one example I can think of for the opposite would be the Clannad translation, which was like I think a lot of people I recall a lot of reviewers at least saying that the official translation was a big improvement to the fan translation, even though I think the fan translation was alright. It was the one I read. But yeah.
I mean, yeah, and probably it was also much better than like whatever Doki would have put out, because Doki is a pretty bad fan subgroup, and we probably wouldn't have done a better job on Clannad. So I mean, sometimes it really does help because you can hire people that are up to a certain standard of quality, but it depends a lot on the people you hire, and it's depends on like being able to hire the right people, manage them properly, and if you get mismanagement, then you might realistically get as bad or perhaps even worse than the results you get from fan efforts. So overall, I think actually localizations have probably improved translation quality of things that comes out, but it hasn't always been a positive force, and it's really complicated to talk about its combined effect on everything. Man, I don't know. I mean,
All
also,
right.
no, never mind. I don't think I have anything more to
No, you,
say until someone else says something.
yeah, it's alright. This could be a bit more discussion. If anybody wants to interrupt or make a point out, it's fair. But yeah. And so I guess we'll move the question on to B. I know. Before the podcast even started, that he has a lot to say on the issue. So looking forward to it.
Uh,
What do you think of the current state,
oof.
Mr.
Spice it
B?
up, Bo.
I mean, it's
Spice it
hard to
up.
say because I mean, I am translating. I am technically translating something without monetary pay right now. I'm not going to say the project. It's
Oh,
not.
we got the
I
VIP
mean,
over
I
here.
won't say the game because it's secret. It's not the Fox game I'm
Oh,
doing.
top secret.
It's not that disgusting Fox game. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for the ones who are watching this and waiting for the translation. It's just not in my mind right now. But from a fan translator perspective and from someone who has worked or at least surveyed the scene for several years, I can pretty much say that it's completely and utterly dead. Like fan translation is dead, bros. Like you gotta, it's true. I mean, if you even if it's not the most accurate page, you can already go to Reddit to the fan translations part of the translation status of, I mean, of, let me see, of today. It's of today.
But can you say that the role of fan translations, like to a large extent, has become kind of
It has,
obsolete?
I mean,
Now that you have companies like official companies regularly translating visual novels.
I mean, it has definitely shifted because before there was no fear, or at least less fear of translating any game you wanted. You know, there were like, you know, like there's always that one or two games that couldn't be translated, like I don't know, Daisirai,
It
or
wasn't just there was a fear. Like there was no like back in the day there was no such thing as an official translation. People weren't translating visual
yeah,
novels.
exactly, like
The only way to make someone read is like to translate it yourself for them. That was like the main reason people,
yeah. I mean,
fan
the
translated
problem
stuff back in the
I
day.
mean, the problem right now is that fan translators in general are scared of translating X game or Y game because it might be picked by a company. You know, you have to be very careful of what you choose now. Like it's not like before where you could choose any fucking game and do whatever you want. You know, but no, now it's like, God, I need to look at the company if it has like releases. I mean, maybe not a lot of people do this, but they should. Just in case it gets picked by a company and you get completely cocked, you know, and your work goes to like the rubbish or whatever, you know. Like the problem is that there's fear now of getting picked, you know. Like, well, I mean, maybe it's not fear and it's joy because maybe your translation gets picked, but in a normal scenario, like the majority of fan translators, and I include myself here, are not like the best translators around, and I could say this for a lot of quote unquote official translators, even though they call themselves official or professionals or whatever. I won't say names, but I mean, I mean, it's true. Just because you get paid money for a translation doesn't mean you are a pro already. Like it's definitely that. And yeah, I mean, there's fear. There's fear of translating whatever you want, and the community is not supportive anymore in general of fan translations. So
Yeah, that's
I
true.
mean, like I said before, you can just go to the. I mean, it's not the most accurate page, but go to translation status update to Reddit and see the ones highlighted in black are supposedly the ones that are moving, and there are only like 4 out of 20 or 30. Like this tells me everything. The majority of these projects I know that are either machine translated because some of them are machine translated and should die in a hole. The others are just stalled or abandoned, and the others are either looking to sell out or genuinely looking for release, but that's going to happen nowhere close. There are some established groups like Tsure Tsure Scans, if I remember correctly, which still like hold some decency in my opinion, like decency in terms of like they promise and they deliver. But as far as it goes, it's completely dead. And I mean, the current projects, it's nothing out of the ordinary. I mean, Ayoko no Ostia, no one knows who these guys are, so maybe it's shit. Like, I don't know. And maybe it's good. I mean, what do I know, man? Haruka ni Aoki, I think that's the only one that could save itself. Lover Able, I know the translator, he's decent, I guess, and the editor, I don't know. And Shinko Ehime Muso, I think part of it was machine translated, but I'm not really sure. So I'm just
I
really
think so
joking.
too, but I think they're trying to fix it or something. Like, I think some person in that project saw that and was upset, and that's maybe like part of why it's like never coming out or something. I'm not really sure of internals of that project, but
Yeah,
uh, I think they're actually taking some measure against it. Do not quote me on this, however.
yeah. Like I said, we don't know. We actually don't know.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, it's a possibility. Like anything can happen in the end. And well, I
Mm.
mean, I will mention this project because I especially hated which is the Musemaker one. Like, please, do not
Be's,
ever
Be,
release
Be- Be's like
Musemaker.
picking fights with everyone in this podcast. Dude, Be, calm down.
To be honest, though, I'm pretty fine with Musa Maker, but you know me, I'm like an actual degenerate, so I
Yeah,
just don't care about social norms and shit.
yeah, you're already dead inside, so who cares? Like, come on.
And also dead to me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, don't worry, I'm okay with this. I feel you're basically just confirming the internal state I feel every day, so it's like perfectly fine.
I mean, let's go with Zander because if I keep on, I will like start ranting to no end. So
Nah, I just wanna talk about the
Keep
first
going.
one. You talk about people being honorable and like
no, I mean,
I
it's
just
not that. I mean, when I talk about honor and morals, I mean if you promise that you will
Honor.
release something like fan translation, you deliver, bro. Like I know that when it comes to selling out, morals are shit and are disgusting because nobody cares in the end. But I mean, if you are really calling yourself a fan translator in a post, for example, like, yeah, I do this for the community because blah blah blah, nobody cares. If you do that, then at least deliver like you promised. Don't come out and say, oh, sorry guys, I sold out, haha, because I want money. Like, come on, bro. That's not dedication. That's not you want to do it for the community. That's because you want to gain money, which is fine. I mean, if you have need of money, go for it, bro.
But why not both?
What?
I
Why
mean,
not both?
I agree with Aldo. I mean, part of the reason why I wouldn't have trouble selling out anything. I mean, I haven't completed anything. You know me. I am not fast or reliable,
Hmm.
or
What about Maki Fest?
I mean, yeah, but we can't fucking sell Monkeyfest because fucking copyright. Kill copyright so we can sell Monkeyfest and I can get like fucking $5 for my part in translating it. Please. Anyway, anyway, by the way, play Monkeyfest and take that HTML option that says I wanna fuck because I translated that and it has like good funny translations. I would call them memes, but it's possible that some people in listening to this might not understand what I mean by memes. So I'll just say, my nipples are playing the blues. I'd leave that at that. Anyway.
A little bit off track there,
Well,
but go on.
yeah,
little bit
I
off
got a
track,
little
yeah.
bit off track, but
Very
but
slightly.
like I actually wonder how many translators really have that attitude. That's like I'm gonna get to the community and we're like
Like two or
I'm
three.
gonna sell
Like,
out actually.
like no.
I
No,
mean,
I think
there definitely are going to be some, but I wonder if many are. I mean, I personally am very upfront that I will fucking sell out and fuck you if you give a shit about it. I guess a lot
Yeah,
of
but
people
that's the
aren't
thing.
that.
It's like why? Like, there's no reason to not. Like, they're literally just giving you money for a job you're doing anyway. You would kind
I
of be
mean,
an
there are
idiot
a
to
few
refuse.
reasons. First of all, you can suspect that the quality of your product will be lower, especially if you sell out the Zaka project, which is absolutely crap about everything. But like, it is actually conceivable due to how bad some companies are that you'll have a worse product if you sell out, which is really bizarre. But
It's all about the time
that's one
consumed, of
reason.
course.
And also, probably your release will be delayed by like
A year.
6 to 12 to 20 fucking 4 months or something.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Which like is a bit of an issue because people are waiting for you, and you'll have to say you have technical
Technical
issues
Well, I
for
mean,
issues.
fucking 12
the best
Technical
months.
option is
issues.
always
Uh,
to not announce
and
the project in the end, right?
By the way, if I ever say I have technical issues on a project I might license, then I'll keep on memeing it more and more, and write technical issues and amusing fonts and stuff like that. So you know what I'm fucking with you, and actually I'm trying to license it
The
if
technical
I
Yeah.
actually
issues, man.
have to at any time.
That's what I like, man.
But
The
but
technical
I
but
mean,
issues.
like
those are legit reasons, but like that's one thing. That's very different from, oh, the honor of giving to the community. Like, that's just dumb. Like, saying I'm not gonna take money because I first said that I was gonna do it for the community
Yeah, exactly.
is just like there's no contradiction, dude. Like, you didn't say that I'm gonna do it for the community and I'm not gonna accept any money. This isn't like fan translators aren't a charity. They're doing a job because I mean they yes, they're doing it out of passion. But if someone's gonna give them money and reward them for their work, why the fuck should they say no?
I mean, there are reasons.
Yeah,
There
like
are reasons.
Zaka's points make a little bit of sense, but that's very different from your points of honor, all that stuff.
No,
I mean, I think it's like the aesthetic you're giving off. Like you're giving off this self-sacrificing aesthetic, and when you like say, actually get this crass capitalism in it, and it doesn't feel right because you were expecting this here, and actually all we got was this sellout translator, and I think people might feel betrayed because of that. Because people were saying that there were people that actually they weren't. Some people would consider because we have sold out. I mean, personally, my opinion is something that is like, even the delay is like, I don't really care if it's delay. You'll still get it eventually, and also I don't care that you have to pay because actually you don't have to pay. You can pirate it. I pirate a lot of
Yeah.
things. If you want to get it for free, then pirate it when the torrent comes out. Easy.
Yeah,
So
but
Yeah,
how
pretty much.
how will I be able to whine in the forums then? Come on, man. Jesus.
how can I wait even first? Actually, good argument.
Yeah, how will I be able?
Well,
to
he can't
whine
either
then?
way, though, right?
Oh yeah,
You know,
because he's bad.
Well, he's
that
bad.
one thing.
Destroyed.
Anyway, Sander, just give us your opinion, man. We've been ranting all around, and you've been there silent. Like,
Don't worry, man. I've been patiently waiting for my chance
Oh, boy.
to
To
talk
shield
about this very
Chinese
important
VNs?
topic. How am I going to shield Chinese VNs with talking about fan translations, man?
Nice.
You could probably do it somehow. Just twist it far enough.
I could, but I don't want Babiker, that racist bastard, to kick me out of the call, so I'll stay away
This-
from it.
Okay, try to stay on topic then.
Certainly.
Yes.
Well, Babiker, while I've not been around long, but I have been a part of a couple fan translation projects myself as an editor. And my current opinion on the state of it would be that it definitely seems like it has decreased in activity since like the times of you and Zakamut and the other elderly people. And I do think that it has kind of become obsolete, yeah, because really, like if you go on the fan translations activity on Fuwa Novel, or just like Barry said on Reddit, there is not much going on. Things will start and they'll get dropped. And there's a lot of incompetent people, like no offense of course, trying to start fan translations. And
No
somebody
offense.
that can hardly speak Japanese probably shouldn't be translating in the first place. And if you barely speak English, you probably should not be an editor or a proofreader in most cases.
Okay.
Uh, But I do think the fan translation scene still exists, mostly for the purpose of starting a project, as long as you go in it with the intent to sell out, actually.
With the intent
And
to sell out. Whoa.
yes,
Yeah,
like
there are
starting a
people. I
project like
mean, I would definitely do that for some projects. Like, for example, I've been considering translating this obscure doujin, and I would totally translate that with intent of maybe selling out. I wouldn't necessarily sell out if terms were bad because, like, I have a different job, but I would definitely do that with some VNs.
I mean, it's been
yeah,
known
I
that you
think
can force some licenses if you translate the game. Like some licenses have been forced when the fan translations have been known to exist. You know, like hey guys, I have
Yeah.
50% done, and then they push a license always. Like it happens.
yeah, I think it is a way for teams to like have a higher success rate because when you go official, everybody has a higher chance of staying together on the team. You have a higher chance of actually finishing the product because
Yep.
people are going to get paid and you have an obligation. So I think in that sense, fan translation is a good thing, and there is always the possibility that you can't get the license or localization companies don't want to work with you, and in that case, you just stop instead of wasting the effort.
Blocked.
You like send a
Or
sample.
you complete it and you release a patch and you're like, well, we couldn't sell this. Fuck.
You could, but to be honest, like how often does it actually happen that the fan translation group
Oh,
releases a
that
patch
happened.
for the
I
possible
remember
release?
that people were trying to sell like Skisho, a BL visual novel. I remember we were in talks, I think with several companies, but ultimately we couldn't sell it, so they released a patch for it instead. So like it does happen,
Yeah, it has.
not necessarily all.
Yeah, there's one happening right now actually. What was the name? Yes, no, Hoka no Onna, right? That one is apparently trying to get sold out, and it's been already finished. So I mean, I wouldn't recommend
Yeah,
if you really want to sell out as a fan translator. I wouldn't really recommend just trying to sell out at the end of your translation, but more like halfway. But you're committing in that way, so even if you don't get the license, you are committing to finishing the game, and that's maybe not the best option. But I mean, I think that's the best course of events if you want to sell out really with reasonable time frames, I guess.
I mean, also now we're all talking about commercially viable titles, right? But I would like to talk about another niche where fan translation is still going to be viable no matter how good luck gets, because there are some free Dojin titles that are pretty good and are never going to be translated because by any official
Free
company
Dojin.
because there is no profit in it. For example, I am nominally translating one of those right now called
Shield.
God, I can't fucking remember the title. Anyway, it's a good visual novel, and
Yeah,
there are a
Gugurashi's.
number
that's
of
a bit of
these,
a
and
that's
I
a bit of
think
an
fan
edge
translation
case.
still has a role in translating these.
Yeah, but those are those are a bit of an exception. Edge
Maybe,
case, you could
but
say.
I think that's where the future's heading, though.
I think that they're a really great way to do translation because often these works are also shorter, so they're easier to get through, even if you're new and bad at motivation or whatever.
Yeah, and I also assume that most doujins you know, aren't that good. Most doujin
Yeah, but you
games.
don't pick the bad ones; you pick the good ones.
Well,
This
I
is
mean,
very easy.
I think that Zaka is right in the matter of fact that we are heading towards that future, like at this rate.
Oh, that's a bit sad.
Yeah, well, I mean,
I don't know.
Um,
it
I
depends
think
on.
it's not sad at all that fan
Yeah,
translation is being captured by official companies because now people are also being paid for a passion if they're good enough.
well, for a
I think that's
passion, quote
great.
unquote, it,
I,
it, it doesn't turn. It completely
I,
loses the
I,
passion.
I feel like there's still a lot of passion involved in the translation, and that's because you still don't get paid very well. You get paid some, sure,
yeah,
but it's fucking peanuts, and everyone knows this. It's still passion. Practically everyone is running on passion, except for like maybe hacks on the outside of the industry that turn in no effort, or people that are like hacks and they literally can't work in any other industry because the standards of this industry are so low. But I don't think that those people are that common, like what you seem to
yeah.
think. I
I
still
honestly
think
don't
passion
think
takes a
anyone.
big part
I
of
don't
it.
think anyone's in this industry to make money. Like anyone who's in the fan translation or official translation industry is there because he likes what he's doing.
Mm.
Or else, like, he would probably be translating something that's at least worth a bit of money, not fucking porn
Well, I
games.
w-
These don't really make you that much money.
well, you have a point, I guess. I digress, but you do have a point in there.
I mean, there is the economic incentive. Like, you get a foot in the door in a market which is like taking worse translators, and currently the VN niche is bad enough that people will probably take worse translators. And you move your way up, maybe gain experience and connections, and start translating light novels instead, which pay you a lot more.
I know. I think
That's like a motivation you could see. That's like actually commercial and not passion driven at all. But I think that's pretty. I don't think that's that common. It probably happens, but I don't think it's that common.
well, I mean, in the end, this is off topic, but I guess payment in companies is correlated with how much they win, like how much they profit from the games. And since
Yeah.
the way of they market the games is complete dog shit, then I can tell why they get paid peanuts. Well, I mean, Manga Gamer is a different beast in my opinion. They have like a Japanese mindset because they are ruled by a Japanese branch instead of the other companies, which, well, I think Sekai Project is run by the Japanese branch too, which tells me a lot of things of why they are completely shit. But apart from that, um, I mean, it's just that the games are visual novels in general are just too expensive, man. I mean, just look at the Chinese ones. The Chinese ones, like, I'm going to shield Chinese ones now. The Chinese ones are like have like similar like art, similar plot lines, stories, and they sell for like $2, you know, and they have decent English translations in general. I'm not saying in everything, but in general they have like decent translations and they sell for like $5, man. I don't know. I mean, if they want to sell more, they definitely should lower the prices.
I mean, but do we have the same quality voice acting as Japanese visual novels? Because that's
That I
actually
don't
going to
know.
be a deal breaker for a lot of people. So,
Yeah,
I mean,
Some of
they
them
should
do.
do
some of them
something.
probably do, but
I mean, they
I
should.
mean, they probably have an advantage in that they don't have to deal with like voice actors, like agreements and shit,
Right.
which seemed like a nightmare.
I will take it upon me to pause you there, as I think we've long since passed the point.
But
Of,
this was
you
the
know,
interesting part
topic
of the podcast.
relatability.
Now we're going to talk
Typical
about boring
racist
Fuwa
Babiker
shit.
cuts it off when we start talking about China, dude. You're proving my suspicions.
Nice.
Okay,
Thank
let's
you,
let's
man.
go to
Right,
the other part.
China can go freaking die in a fire. We're about Japanese Nippon-made visual novels only, and possibly English made. Relevant stuff. But one thing I want to move on to another topic that is very directly related to it, which is more about the community for novel. And well, one of the like, the main purposes for novel, like really starting off actually existing, um, is because to go on a bit of a history tangent. You know, the founder Heiru, or however you pronounce that, she was just a regular visual novel translator, and in the old community, which I think was one TL Wiki, it was very unharboring and unwelcome, and she was basically a shit translator, at least by their standards, and they did not help her, they did not assist her. So she decided to create a more welcoming community where people can discuss visual novels and visual novel translations and stuff. So visual novel translation is at the very core of the reason for why full novel is even here. So needless to say, with the decline of fan translation, we've also seen a decent decline in full novel activity, and at least activity on the website itself. So with that small intro, let's go to the questions. What do you think of how the community of Fuwa has aged over the years, and has it served its purpose, Mr. Zaka?
Well, first of all, I would say that that's a sanitized history because you're not mentioning a big elephant in the room, which is that Eru got very pro piracy.
Yes, of
Rather
course,
quickly, people of opposite narrative would say that she went crazy one day and started making a crazy website with crazy ideals and gathering crazy
Yeah.
people about her to do
I
crazy
mean, there's
things.
definitely a lot more to the history than I'd like to that I was
Yeah,
mentioning, but I was just mentioning what was relevant to the topic at hand.
yeah, sure, but it really matters, like this thing, because it's also part of how Fu has changed, because we have stopped openly espousing those ideals, and it really has changed the community somewhat.
We.
But
Yes.
like my perspective of Fu evolution is like, well, I haven't been here from all the time, but I've been on Fua for a while, and I mean, Airo was still actually somewhat around by the time I started. And at the start, the community actually had a lot of like I feel like community spirit. And like you can kind of feel this. It's probably partly due to the small size, but it was also probably partly due to the fact that it had this ideology in it that tended to make people that didn't fit the ideology stay away from Funawa. To be fair, and that probably kept people closer to each other than the current Fuwa novel. And this is like adding to the effect of there being less people on the farm, so you actually kind of knew people, and the community was a lot closer knit. And I feel honestly on a completely different scale or type of community even at that point. Funovo is so different now. There's just no comparison. The groups that felt like Funovo then, these groups are now basically like Discord cliques instead, because that's where it's moved. Because now Full Novel is bigger and wider, and has lost part of its ideological purpose and focus. But I do think that we're at least trying. I feel like we're slipping on this point, but I think Full Novel is still trying on that point of not biting the newbies. I think we're getting worse on this, but I still think we're trying more than any other community to allow people to be new, stupid, all kinds of things that make more experienced people cringe, because you just have to allow the cringe to get the
Yes.
welcoming effect, which makes it like in a way a worse community for many veterans, but ultimately it serves a purpose in the ecosystem. And that's where I think Funo is positioned right now. I could be wrong. Maybe we're actually just as shit as everyone else. Maybe nobody actually cares about Funo anyway and doesn't join. But that's where I see us sitting now. We try to stand on the one pillar we haven't lost from the ideology, distribution, and friendliness aspect. We still try to keep that friendliness alive a bit.
Yes. Yeah. With that, I could at least somewhat agree. Well, I mean, that would kind of assume that people actually post on Blue Novel when they start new regions. Do people even do that anymore? Like, I haven't really checked, but like, how often do we see like first time posters and them actually?
We definitely still see introductions. I don't think we're as common. I don't think we've seen a reduction in activity, which would indicate that, well, we've seen some reduction in activity, but not hugely, and I think the rate of decline is slowing, which would indicate that we do at least have some replacement new people. Maybe not quite enough to slow the decline, so maybe we're dying slowly. I'm not sure if we can do anything to help that. Maybe the FuwaNovel.se recommendation thing will actually help somehow. We can always hope. But there is definitely some effect still. I'm not sure how good we are though.
Yep. I mean, we have some newbies right here with us in this very podcast.
Oh,
I mean,
hello.
yeah,
He can't be
Zander.
completely dead.
B doesn't really count. He's been around for a while.
Yeah. B has decently been around for a while.
Yeah.
But yeah, Zander is this weirdo I joined he's very interesting.
Yeah, he's an odd cookie.
I like him.
Yeah, I like him too, man.
Yeah.
This guy.
This is really heartwarming because I like all of you guys as well.
Thank you
I
very
like the
much.
community.
Behind with Jim at 14, bro. Where was I?
Okay.
I'm not sure if you're trying to beat me up or trying to reenact that BL game you mentioned, but
Both, obviously.
Disgusting, to be honest.
Oh, I see what you're into there, but
Nice.
truth
But
is
yeah.
revealed.
to move on to another opinion after hearing Zaka's, let us go to Mr. B.
Oh, really?
What do you
Is
say?
it my turn now? Holy shit, Zaka.
Yeah,
Yes, it's
go
your
ahead, Barry.
Yeah, Zaka,
I mean,
Fuwa
B.
is totally a newbie-friendly community. It definitely doesn't have a hive mind at all in the top or anything like that. It's definitely not, I don't know, disgusting to see what's happening, to see how has it.
All right, for a bit of context, Mr. B here has been. Were you permanently banned or just temporarily
My
banned?
main account has been banned, but I
Yeah.
think that doesn't. I think I'm not implying. I'm not really getting my hate because of the permabanned account. I think that's proof. That's part of the proof of what's going on. But yeah, it's not like I'm on a personal vendetta or anything. I mean,
Of course.
I just want to point
Uh-huh.
out what's happening, man. I don't know. It's something's very wrong is going on. Like, I mean, no, you laugh, but I mean, I do care.
I mean, you could be as specific as you want. No one watches this podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
mean,
man.
I mean, you're literally already banned from Fuwa, boy. You can't get
Yeah.
more banned. You should be
You
spicy.
can't get more
Yeah,
I
banned.
nothing to
still have
lose.
accounts. It's not like I can still enter. It's just that my B account was banned. I think unjustly, but still. I mean, they can do whatever they want. First, what do you think of the community has aged over the years? I think that the original purpose of the website was mainly the torrents and not the friendly atmosphere, I guess, which Zaka here implies that it had. I mean, I don't know. I wasn't there when this happened. I joined when, if I remember correctly, I joined back when the Aukana project was like crumbling down back then, when the rent shit went down and everything was going crazy. I joined back then, um, and I think that in general the purpose now is like non-existent because before the Fuwa novel shifted from torrents to hosting fan translations, which I think was a very like intelligent move because most of the fan translations that were known were gathered in Fuwa novel and were updated. I mean, you can see Magikoi. The Magikoi thread is one of the most visited threads in the entire forum, which is like some part of the proof of what I'm talking about here. But I mean, most of the projects, the translation ones, were hosted in Phonable and still are hosted, some of them. So I think that was a very smart move. And then I guess that the friendly atmosphere is like a plus, but people didn't really join Phonable mainly because of, oh my god, yes, I'm going to be treated good here. Like, no, bro, like that's not how it works. I joined here because I want to mainly follow the fan translations. Like, of course, there are people that get out of the loop in this case, but I mean, I don't think there's there's a lot of people who like join, or at least who joined because of EXO, because I like visual novels and I stumbled upon this forum. Like, it happens, but the majority of them were because of the fan translations. And now that fan translations are dead, it's a problem because the I mean, let's be honest. There's like a hierarchy in the forums in Fuwa. Like, you have the top, which is like the mods and the guys that have very good relationship with the mods in general. These guys are mainly work in the official scene, which is, I think, a bad thing because what they do is like completely inverse what Fuwa Novel was for, which is encourage fan translations, which they mentioned directly several times, like years ago. Like, yeah, we are here because we encourage fan translations, we encourage that shit, and not anymore. Now, either if a translator posts something, hey, I want to do something, and he gets completely bashed. I mean, unless you say that you are an N5 translator, then okay, then you deserve to be bashed to the ground. But taking that aside, I mean, translators get bashed.
Wait, do people actually get bashed for saying they want to start up a translation
Yeah,
project?
like, I mean, not bashed
Yes.
in a direct sense, but I don't know. Someone comes in and say, "Hey,
Physically.
man, you are a bad person because you're stealing money from my companies and my publishers." Oh, that's right. I'm working for a publisher, by the way. Oh, I'm not shilling or anything like that, huh? Huh? Like these people are like that. Like they work for publishers and they come in and say, "Hey, man, fan translation is bad and you should be ashamed about it." And that's how I see it. Unless it's like an
Wait, is that actually like are there actually threads like that? Like people actually saying like fan translation is bad? Like just to
I
be
mean,
yeah.
I guess what B's impression is. I don't think that's really a great impression I get usually, but I mean, I'm autistic and B isn't,
I mean,
and most people
I
are not
remember
autistic,
I
so
remember seeing
maybe B is
threads.
right here.
No, I mean, the,
Yeah, I mean, I'm not that
I mean,
like as
Zaka,
I
you can
said, not
see
that
it,
up to
man.
date with
Like
these
it's
things.
pretty blatant. Like it's people who work on the industry or have worked officially and just go in and say fan translation. I mean, they don't say directly what I'm saying right now, but they say it subjectively, in some way, in that some clever way to say you shouldn't fan translate. Or they come up with an excuse to say that your quality is bad and you shouldn't fan translate that. What the fuck, man? Just do it, bro. Like encouragement. This is what we're looking for, right? This is what Phonable at least was for, not anymore. And since I mean, I remember that back then when I joined the review team and the BNTS was way more active, which is completely dead now. Like I mean, I don't blame DK and Tay. They are busy people. They have their life already.
I would actually kind of blame DK and Tay for part of that because like their inactivity makes other people's enthusiasm just fizzle out because there are so
Yeah, I
many
mean,
roadblocks to doing anything.
yeah, exactly. Like if you manage a dead
So
website.
I actually think that that is a big part of the decline of that. I mean, part of it is also that like I think part of the problem is that they hired me and I'm a lazy fuck, and I think someone else in charge of a blog would probably do more. But the question is if there is anyone else who would want to actually take on that role. I'll say right now, but if you want to do that, then talk to me or whatever, and I'll see what I can do. And honestly, like.
No shilling in the podcast, Zach. Shut up.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
I mean,
Sorry,
this
sorry.
is a podcast about like obscure Fuwa shit.
Yeah, yeah, sorry.
If you're actually listening to this, you're probably kind of engaged already, and I would very much like to work with you, and maybe I would eventually pass my power with you. And I realize that saying this is kind of annoying because maybe you want that power right away, but I do have to test you because I don't want to make things worse than zero. And I am an elitist and quality wise
All
and
right. We
low
get we
supply
get
and
we get
fuck
the
me.
point,
I
Zach.
don't know. I
I should
think
probably
Yo,
kill
Zaka,
myself by
can
the
you
way.
test me right now, bro? I'm ready to be tested.
Hmm.
I'm ready
Uh,
to apply.
I don't know. The main problem is that
okay.
the new people aren't coming in, but not because they are not new people, just because the older people do not put the time into prepare new people to continue the things. Like BNTS could be handled by another person if you really put your mind into it. Like you can get anyone. Like anyone who is semi engaged with the community would be more than glad to do BNTS. People, younger people who have more time. And the same thing could be said for the reviews hub. I mean, we have these two reviewers right now who are literally like we have Zander who does reviews from time to time, but he's active as a blogger in the website. We have Lesayak. Lesayak has been insisting several times in several posts because I saw it that he wanted to join the reviews team, but he always gets told that, hey man, I just don't have time for you or whatever. Like, bro, like, is it better to just leave it fucking dead or that someone, you know, like someone posts something, like I don't know, leaving it dead is not the best idea. Like, just like the mods of the forum were like replaced, which I think is a good and a bad idea at the same time. I mean, the pigs are the mod situation is a whole nother beast, but I
Oh
mean,
yeah, the pics were
yeah,
interesting
the pigs
from
were interesting,
perspective.
but what I'm saying here is that I don't know that the focus should be on I don't know, putting new people in the front, like people who actually have time for the website, like people get older, people get lives, and sooner or later,
I
like
definitely agree on Zach's point about like like that there should be a decent, like there is a decent amount of blame to be pointed towards the people at the top because of their lack of enthusiasm, lack of like even presence. I would say like how often do you see Tay make
Yeah.
a meaningful post, or like I
Yeah,
don't
I
know,
guess.
a mod
I
make
mean,
a meaningful post? Like we don't like they don't really feel like they're there unless someone's you know do making problems, or like there's a technical update on the website. Like it feels less like a community and more like a place where visual novels just happen to be spoken about.
yeah, like I don't know.
Yeah, and like Tay was more active in the community like earlier too, and I definitely think he's gotten more distant. And I mean, this is not exactly to blame him because like he's a med student and he really is very fucking busy. So like, I mean, you should probably blame me more for having no blog content because I could have been a person that did that if I didn't.
I don't know. The
But
problem.
like
Yeah.
on the other hand, like. On the other hand, like, I mean, there are a lot of problems. Like, it's really hard to actually do that, lending over of power to new people. And like, I've been in this situation in like a World of Warcraft guild I was, and we could never get the officers to class roles and shit because like there was nobody you could trust enough. I mean, Fono
Yeah,
is
but
a
if you
big
follow that,
community, and 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 like you have to balance the dangers of having a new person with the dangers of like I don't
Yeah,
know, having like
I'll actually confess that I tried to get into the hierarchy at multiple points, but was never quite. Although at one point I think I did actually get an offer by Tay to like be a mod or something, but I never. But it was at that point I wasn't all that interested as much as I was, especially in the early days.
I don't know.
yeah
It's just that.
But yeah, I would definitely say that it's quite rigid.
I mean, yeah. If I can get that you don't actually trust new people, like it happens. Like I have trust issues as well. The only thing is that I don't know. That's why trial periods exist. You know.
yeah, and like sometimes people don't even go for trial periods, but also. I mean, I actually kind of agree. I think a lot of people are not even going and offering those trial periods, but also, there might just not be enough interest in the position
Interest,
when you
yes.
when you
I'd
really
definitely
look for
say
it.
I mean,
interest
there
has
really is
gone way
interest.
down. Like back in
You
the
just
day,
don't.
there was a
You
lot
just
of
don't
people who
search.
wanted.
Like
Not so much now.
I think you just don't search. I mean, that's the issue. There's interest, but by far, like
Yeah,
I'm sure Maggie would love to review. I'm sure Lesayak. I'm sure Zander would love to review. I don't know, man.
yeah. When it comes to reviews, I kind of agree.
Yeah, no,
When it
reviews
comes
is
to my
easy, but
role, I'm less optimistic, which is probably part of why
When it
I
comes
don't think
to
anything's happened. But
when it
I
comes to
think
what?
you're more concerned about the review subs. So yeah, yeah. I mean, I think you're more right on that.
Well, I mean, reviews, BNTS. You know what I'm talking about, right? Like the main, like the main attraction of the site, like the main site.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah, I
You know,
mean,
I never even actually considered having other people handle the data entry and shit for VNTS. And I
I
think
don't know.
part
You
of that
should.
is because it is because first of all it would require like people doing permission setup, and then we would have Tay actually do work. And then I think of like the mechanisms that will make it happen, and I realize it will never happen in like 6 months. And then I'm like,
I
uh,
mean, I don't know. Just look at
it
this situation. Like,
it seems really good. It seems like a really good thing that we actually should do, but somehow it just feels like it would never come together.
I mean,
Maybe that's a big problem actually.
like the biggest issue with the Fuwa novel
maybe.
is that people go first to the main site. Like people don't go to the forums first; they go to the main site, you know, to see what's this about, you know. And if
Yeah.
I'm new and I see the main site that is completely dead because it's dead, it's abandoned, bro. Like
It's not
the
just that,
BNT,
it's like a time capsule. You have releases from 40 years ago
yeah,
being
exactly.
advertised as new
Like
releases.
I personally think that the BNTS format
I
of
prefer
Fuwa
the
is
old
better than
homepage. It was a
Reddit's.
lot better.
Yeah, it's BNTS from Fuwa novel is better than BNTS from Reddit, you know.
Yeah,
The
it
issue
is definitely.
exactly the issue is that if VNTS is not updated, people go to Reddit instead of Phonable, you know, and they stay in Reddit. Like even if Reddit is cancer, there are no other options, you know, because Phonable is dead. You know, why should I go there if it's dead? You know, I'm not going to browse there. I think you would.
I,
Yeah,
I
but if you
think
manage to
probably
get into the
VNTS is
pool,
going to be more alive soon again. I think like the current super deadness is probably due to like Tay being even more busy than usual. I think it'll get better, but I can't guarantee that. Maybe it'll be this terrible from the future and even get worse. I'm not sure. And I actually agree with your point that we should try to have some kind of system to like share out the burden here. And if you're listening to this and thinking like, I would actually like to compile updates for like 30, 40, 50 visual novel translation projects weekly, then like talk to me or talk to DK or well, you can't
Probably
fucking talk
Zaka
to
is
Tay. He'll
better.
not fucking ask it. He'll not fucking do
Hmm.
it. But like honestly, contact me somehow. And if you're dedicated enough, then yes, you should be able to find out how to contact me. I am
I'm
Zaka
gonna put
Nutama
Zaka's.
forums. You know me.
Yeah, I'm gonna put Zaka's like phone number right
Yeah,
at like the
yeah,
bottom of the
Or
yeah,
podcast.
Facebook.
yeah. Fucking DM me on motherfucking Twitter. Oh, I think you have to follow me, and I have to follow you first. But
Yeah, donate to his Patreon, by
you
the
can
way.
even reply to me. You can even mention me on Twitter without following me because I don't care about that shit. Because
Can I
I'm not
hit
a.
you up on World of Warcraft to apply, man?
I mean, I don't play World of Warcraft, but you probably could if I did. You can fucking message me on their stage, except I don't play that anymore
I
that
don't know.
much.
I think you should be
All
more
right.
should have more presence, Saka. I don't know. I don't think the only the mods presence in the forums should be enough. Like if you want to do these announcements, you should really do it yourself. Do not let the mods. Do not let Kaguya just do the announcement, bro. Like do it yourself. You are. I mean, see if you are in charge of that. I mean,
I mean, the problem is that I'm not really in charge. Like I'm sort of in charge, but I've gotten less and less of charge, partly because I'm horrible
He's a
at
figure.
committing to things and finishing things, which
I
is
mean,
really fucking bad.
I
I
don't know.
know,
It's like
but I can't.
I'm fine with this
It's
actually.
hard.
But hey, your choice, I guess. But yeah, what it needs is like a new search of life, man. If you really do
Yeah.
it, I think
I feel like half of this podcast is just Zaka admitting that he sucks at his job and he wants somebody else to do it.
We should have like
It's just really funny.
like the sequence where we keep adding more and more contact information to be like the Twitter handle, my Terrace stage account number, all that shit.
a Patreon account for the way, by the way.
My fucking Patreon
Discord,
account.
Discord, Discord server. Do you have a Discord server, Zaka?
I actually don't. Maybe I should make one for a meme. Oh, but I do. There is one for the like a Dojin translation group that I've been actually an admin of. You could link to that for memes.
All right.
Uh,
Well, Zaka's contrived opinion aside, back to the actual fucking topic. What was it again? Yes.
Zander's turn.
How is Fuwa either has it served its purpose? Yes, I would like to hear more from our new boy Zander.
Yeah.
What do you think about? Well, you haven't seen it in its golden age. Some would argue, but
That's true.
I
That's true.
dare say you probably have a thing or two to say about how Fuwa has aged and has it served its purpose.
Yes, Mr. Babiker, I would certainly love to discuss this topic. As you may know, I've been around in this community for a little over half a year, and one thing that I have noticed, like straight from the outset, and I think that everybody might notice, Babiker, like, how many girls are in this call right now?
Oh, he said
do
it.
you just assume our
Are we talking
genders?
about character avatars or like actual
Like, let's just talk like 3D. Like, how many sausages we got
3D?
in here?
Probably 100%.
Yeah, and if
Indeed.
you look at Fuwa man, the percentage is pretty similar. I think Fuwa novel is very one-dimensional in some respects. Like, can feel too. It's basically a massive sausage party, which is one issue that I have with it because I know there is a lot of female VN readers. So I think maybe there
Zander
could
wants
be
more girls in Fuwa. Okay, Zander.
not for the reasons you're thinking or maybe thinking, but
Uh,
you know there could be more ways to appeal to female readers of visual novels because there is a lot of them, and
yes.
but in terms of how it's aged, I do think its purpose has kind of decreased because like initially And this is something I've talked about before. They have this big motto that says "Make visual novels popular in the West." Okay, it's a
Yes.
big fan translation hub. Okay, you can torrent VNs here to try them out or whatever. Hopefully buy them if you're a good person, or maybe not if you're,
Also
If
a
you're
good
beef.
person.
If you are degenerate, continue.
If you're degenerate, yeah, continue.
But now, there doesn't really feel like there is any sort of make visual novels popular in the West.
Yeah.
That whole motto to me, at least since I have joined, it has been non-existent. Like,
Yes.
you literally might as well wipe it from the title so I don't have to look at it anymore.
Ouch, man.
God, feels bad,
Uh,
man.
No,
But
let me hear why.
Feels
Let
bad,
me hear
man.
why, Sander. I'm interested.
wh-
Like, why do you think?
let you hear why it should be removed.
Yeah, like, what is your
Or, like-
basis? What's your basis on it? Like, I really want to hear.
Well, I mean, a part of it goes back to what you and Zaka were discussing. Like, there is no like fan translation support. Like, there is no positive atmosphere for fan translation. At least from what I have noticed, looking through threads, there is not
I
exactly
mean,
a
but-
positive
I mean,
atmosphere.
I mean, there have been several fan translations. It's just that they've all sold out. Like,
They have.
He's talking about
And-
encouragement, not like the end, right?
Yeah, but that was my whole point about like the whole purpose actually ending. Like the reason, like when you say we want to make visual novels popular in the West, this was back in a time where there was no such thing as a visual novel scene. No one knew what a visual novel was.
I mean, there was still a visual
This
novel
was
scene,
very
but it
lucky.
was still like evolving. It was not at all as big as
practically
now.
non-existent. I mean, yeah, it was
I don't
there.
think it's
Like,
even that big.
if My Heart Had Wings had an official translation, like, but this is ancient shit. Like, no one fucking knew what a visual novel was, and like it's like that has changed. People know what visual novels are. People has like if you've wandered through Steam, even remotely, you've definitely seen one visual novel or another. You might have bought one, or at least you would have probably bought games that are very similar to visual novels in style. So like you could argue that like the purpose has already kind of been achieved. The whole make visual novels popular in the West, like at least make visual novels not as obscure as they used to be in the West, has
Yeah.
been achieved.
Yeah, definitely. And like
So,
I do
like-
think you're correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
So like my point is that fan translations made sense in an age where none of this like Steam didn't exist and nobody knew what visual novels was. But when people know what they are and Steam exists as a very good place to buy them, then you no longer really should like fan translate visual novels. Like that's just it's not like, morally correct.
Except for visual novels that would not get an official translation otherwise. Let us keep this exception.
Yeah, I mean that or like I don't know a fucking free visual novel that you mentioned.
Yeah.
Whatever that stuff. Like yes, there's an exception here and there, but the general rule is that I would say at least that fan translations are no longer necessary to increase the popularity of visual
Yeah.
novels in the West.
I mean, I would pretty much agree. I mean, I think my views of fan translation are actually kind of more offensive because I think that fan translate whatever you want and release a patch and fuck everyone because I don't care. But I know that people don't agree with me on this, and I would understand why. But like personally, for me, do it if you want and don't care if you translate something from fucking Nitro Plus and. Don't give a shit about Just and live in Sweden so you can ignore the cease and desist letters, please. For example. But, like, that's me, and maybe I'm being irresponsible by thinking that. I don't know. I just can't make myself care for these people. I mean, I don't care about people in general. I care about things all the time, so.
Okay, so it's like the autism is really overboarding right now.
Yeah, man.
calm
Exactly.
the fuck down.
One
Holy
moment
shit,
Zander
dude.
was talking, and now you're talking about how you hate people. Come on, man. What the fuck?
No. I don't hate people. I'm just not interested. I mean, I'm interested in some
Holy
people.
spit,
But I'm
bro.
interested in people because of information they bring, not because they're actually people.
Jesus Christ, man.
Well,
My
generally
goodness.
speaking, you would care about those people because they are the same audience that you are trying to target with your fan translation. You know, people aren't translating something so that they can read it themselves.
Well,
Otherwise, you know, they
maybe
wouldn't
I'm
give it to anybody else.
translating it for the joy of translation. But yeah,
Nice one, bro.
no, that's actually part of my motivation, which is probably why I only fucking translate one line in like 3 years or some shit.
Nice. That's what I like to hear, man.
Nice.
Yeah,
Anyway, Sander, please.
but yeah, to return the Babiker, you make a good point, and I do think in that sense it has served a lot of its purpose because I suppose nowadays, like even Reddit and other communities, Steam is more responsible for making visual novels popular in the West.
Yep.
I definitely don't think we are because it's a relatively small community, like less than 100 consistently active people. So I do think it has served its purpose, but I think it was Zaka maybe that mentioned the friendliness.
Yeah.
And you know me, as a new member, I have experienced that kind friendliness firsthand 7 months ago. Because you
Okay.
see, I, as a new member to the visual novel scene, attempted
Yeah.
to speak to people on the visual novel Reddit, and you know, being a
Oh
dumb
boy.
fuck there, you know, it doesn't really end well. You know, if you don't know anything,
Yeah.
really, they're not very welcoming.
Yes, indeed. I
But
think
you know,
I've
Fuwa
posted.
novel,
I think I posted my podcast like 3 times, and every single time it's been downvoted. Not once. The top upvoted comment was, "Kill yourself." So it's a
Oh,
wonderful
that
community over
basically
there.
sums up, yeah. And I mean, Fuwa novel is the kind of place where you know some mentally disabled person that just read their first visual novel can say, "Hi, I just read The Fruit of Garcia. What should I read next?" And you can do that
Ooh,
2,000
Garcia.
times, and people are still
Yes.
going to go, and they're going to tell you the best recommendations. They're still going to be nice to you, and that is an important part of it because you know there isn't really another friendly, welcoming visual novel community as far as I know. Like
Yeah, indeed.
visual novel Reddit, as you
Also, a
said,
point.
has people.
Yes. Sorry to cut you off, but minor point
Yeah.
that well might not even be that minor, but the point that we haven't mentioned is that like a lot of the activity, like forums these days, are kind of a little bit obsolete. Have become at least a little bit more obsolete with the popularization of places like Discord, where most of the discussion and activity tends to move to. I remember back when the first Skype group was announced. Skype for Fuwa, like a lot of activity went down because a lot of activity went to the Skype group, and then with Discord, it went a lot more than that. Now, how many Fuwa related Discords do we have?
I
Like,
mean,
I'm
even
only in
before
one.
before Skype, it was with Fuwa IRC and the TeamSpeak Free group.
Yeah.
And I think those
TeamSpeak.
groups have always been like on the forefront of the most like hardcore members have tended to join these, but
Yes.
it's gotten more exacerbated in recent days, and like it's gotten to the point where like our visual novels is a place where like the Reddit is a place where I rarely go and I don't really like, but I enjoy looking into the our visual novels Discord quite a lot. Yes, it's just so different. Uh, and I definitely think that like things have migrated to Discords, and the reason I think that's happened is because of all like the newbies.
I mean, there's an
They,
issue, anyways, with the Discord.
Fucking
I mean,
newbies.
in Reddit.
I mean, not the fucking news, but like the problem is that like people, old fags and newbies, just in the end, I don't think we're quite compatible.
They are not.
As
They're definitely not.
They're not, which is why the old people that now have like more distinguished taste seek out for cliques and want to talk to people that actually fucking actually understand them.
Yes.
I think there are two
And
types of
I think
fags.
that's what have. Yeah.
And there are two types of
you
old fags, Saka. And then
Yeah.
no, more like we have three types. You are a type because you are weird, and I consider you like the exception among exceptions. Out of
Yeah,
the
the autistic nice guy.
yeah, like you are very
The
weird.
autistic
But
types.
taking you aside, there, like when you are when you spend too many time in this community, you end up either two ways, or you end up super toxic, like me. You end up being a disgusting toxic person, like
Yeah, I agree that
like
you
the
are.
like the
Go
common
on.
Reddit user.
I can at least appreciate the self-awareness there.
Yeah, I mean it's true, man. It's true. I'm not gonna lie. I'm disgustingly toxic,
I
but
mean, bee stings are like venomous, so
well, the other
Nice one, mate.
It's a
that's
shit joke, bro.
I think that's a normal breed of getting old in this community. Like you end up being fed
Yeah,
up.
that is true. Like communities tend
Yeah,
to
like
breed toxicity and all that
like
stuff.
you end up getting fed up of the noobs. Like you have to have like a limitless amount of patience to withstand the autism for so long. When you are for 4 years in this community, and you see a thread of, hey guys, I'm going to do a translation team. I'm going to pop up 4 games. But I have no translators and I don't know Japanese. You see that, or you see, hey guys, I just read The Fruit of Grisaya and it's the best visual novel I've ever read. Fuck the other visual novels. English is the best language. Like, no, bro, no, that's not right. Okay, you end up like
Uh,
you go crazy, man, and that's the issue. Like there.
I mean, I wouldn't say you go crazy. You have to be a pretty worked up to feel that strong
I mean,
about
you might
the
not go completely
cheating in
crazy,
games.
but you might actually get angry.
Yeah, like you get pissed, and then you have the.
I mean, I don't know. You could write. I could only imagine myself
I mean,
writing a passive aggressive post
I,
that's like at most a paragraph long, but like not our visual novel levels of hate. I don't think that's very healthy, or I don't even think most people like reach that stage
no, they
of
I-
they mostly
toxicity.
leave. Most of the guys don't
Yeah,
stay too long.
they get the
Okay,
fuck
so you
out.
were talking about three categories. So, like the toxic old fag bee is one. What are the other two?
The two is you. You are weird, okay? So you have your own category of being nice to everyone, but in your own way. I don't know how to explain. Like it's you,
Yeah.
okay? And then we have the third category, which is like a very rare breed in my opinion, which is like people who stay the same, like people who stay nice all the time, and they manage to like. They are mostly like old fags who have their age, like people who are actually old. Let's say Clefas has stayed the same for his entirety of existence in this website, if I remember correctly. Hello, Clefas.
Yeah.
If you're
Maybe.
listening to this, I don't. I
Clefas.
hate gay games, but in a sense of boy love games, not gay games of that sense. Okay, I know you find me disgusting, but I love you, man. Anyways, continuing. Clefas. I think what's his name? What's the name of this guy?
I think Itaku maybe the guy that translated
Yeah.
to her too.
I think Itaku is nice, but he's not very active. He's on his own circles, but yeah, you could call him that. Sanatlik, for example, he's like a user that has never changed throughout the history of this website. He's always been like serious, but nice in general. Narcosis, I don't know, Batman. Even though
I don't know. Narcosis, I feel, has gotten more cancerous, but
I,
he's
think
he's
he
still
was.
kind of nice, I guess. I think maybe he stayed the same, but he was always cancer. Maybe that works.
I know maybe in a
I know one user who has changed a lot.
who is
Okay, actually, no, I'm not gonna get into that. We're turning into full gossip at this point.
well, but I
Um,
mean,
What user has changed a lot? Come on, give it to.
Yeah, you can't just say it and not
Yeah,
tell
man.
us, Babby.
Don't make me say it, man.
say it.
Oh God, I
Oh,
feel
don't
like
make me say
bullying
it, but-
you so bad.
Oh, and then we have Little Shogun, of course. I forgot Little Shogun.
Little Shogun has pretty much stayed the same
Yeah.
though, hasn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
he certainly
been
has
the
Yeah,
same.
he's definitely saying the same. He's
Yeah,
the coolest little
maybe
bro,
he's
man.
gotten slightly better grammar over the years, but mostly not.
Yes, definitely. I definitely improved
I know.
a decent amount of grammar.
He's
Like holy shit, man! His first posts were completely unreadable.
I mean,
Definitely
they're
better
still
now.
pretty much unreadable, but I mean, on the other hand, I mentally just skip over them now, so maybe I don't read them enough to notice the
No,
improvement.
he's improved. He's improved easily.
Uh,
He's even. He's
he
even
might
in,
be a
like,
nice
Fuwa's
guy,
brothers.
but I just can't stand reading him. It's like it's basically like the internet equivalent of smelling bad, man.
Internet equivalent is better. That's it. Interesting way of
I'm a
putting it.
very rude person, but I can't constrain myself here. I'm sorry. I'm not actually sorry. Fuck.
but
Okay,
Right.
so
I thought you said this guy was nice, Babby.
What?
Wasn't Zaka supposed to be the nice guy?
I mean, the
yes,
thing is,
No,
he calls me nice, but it's a very inadequate description of me because I'm a fucking weirdo and like I just judge everyone like
Okay, Zaka, we
on
don't care about
different
your self-reflection.
metrics.
No one gives a shit. Okay, shut up.
no, I mean,
Thanks.
Sorry,
I
but
feel
it's
like if
for
you really want
reals.
to know someone in this community, I think everyone puts a forefront, anyways. No, like you cannot judge anyone by what they put on the forums. That's retarded. So I think that
Yeah,
if
I
you
mean,
really
no
want
shit.
to know someone here, you have to, like in real life, I guess, you have to be very patient. And I mean, patience works. With it has worked with me with Zaka, for example. Like, Zaka, I will say this here, even though like I really didn't found you likable at first, like some years ago. I thought you were a
Oh,
cunt. I'm not gonna lie, man. But yeah, I mean,
same, hard
after some
same.
time, man, I just
Holy
realized that
shit, bro.
you are a great guy, man. I don't know how to say it. Like, yeah, you have your clicks like everyone, but yeah, just like everyone, just like the Polish users in the website, just the same thing.
Thanks, bro.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Oh god, it's been an interesting podcast thus far, I must say. Although I think we've pretty much more or less covered the point of that was. I think we've also covered have its activities moved elsewhere with the whole Discord thing, Discord and Steam and the like. So,
All right. See you guys in 8
any
months.
any last words?
So you guys is 7.9 months.
Oh yes.
Let's be optimistic.
Seven
I have one recommendation though, just as last words for the foreigners. Can you
Okay.
like if you want your Discord to be popular, mods of Fuwa Novel, put it on the forefront of the forum. Don't just put it on a thread that will actually die, because
Yeah, that's actually
yeah,
a good
people
point.
don't actually
Yeah.
care when they log into the forum. Like, oh my god, I'm going to look for the Discord thread. No, people are fucking
Actually,
lazy.
is there even an official,
Yeah.
quote unquote, official Discord for Fuwa?
Yes,
yeah,
and
there is one.
somehow
Yeah,
I'm
there
a
is
mod
one.
of it, despite the fact that I've been banned twice from
Well,
Novel.
I think we could leave that topic for other days, like the roasting
Yeah.
mods topic and what's
Oh
going
yeah,
on.
the mods
I-
are the mod thing was interesting. I wrote an essay about it, but
I think they deserve a podcast on their own, but I mean, I
yeah,
don't know.
The mods deserve.
yeah,
That
maybe
would
we
be an
shouldn't go
interesting
into this.
podcast.
Yeah, probably that would
I
be
should
interesting.
I should like invite a mod and invite B just to have like invite the mod that banned B and,
Oh
and
my
just watch
god,
them.
Oh,
Clef
Just
is
watch
a
them
B,
fight.
the
invite
podcast.
Zeno.
That would
Zeno
be-
was the one who permabanned me. So
Oh yeah, but
Oh, bro.
so
Yeah.
we have Clef as B's. Oh my god, that would be so meme and so bad. That's so good.
Teaser for the next podcast.
I don't think that would be a good idea, but hey,
Yeah, it's not actually happening. Do not expect this in the future.
yeah, cut this part by
Yeah.
the way, cut this part. Thank you.
I mean, at one point, I almost brought Ren and Maeve on the same podcast. Didn't quite work out
Jesus.
because the guy had some excuses. Oh man, this is like old shit. It's like 4-year-old drama I'm bringing up here.
Oh
Yeah.
man, but like I think original Ren and Maeve might actually have been able to talk out their differences. I don't think the same will actually happen
Yeah,
with
I
B and
think
the others.
they've both left at this point.
Yeah, it's a
They've
shame.
both gotten to the point where it's like, fuck the community, I'm out.
Yeah, it's a shame they have a hive mind and I'm targeted, but hey, I mean, what can I do?
Rip.
Put your tinfoil hats on, kid.
But anyways, I think that's yeah, we should wrap things up with
Read Soundless.
say.
Sorry.
But I had something
Say,
to
say,
say as well, Babiker.
okay,
Why
she-
you-
Oh,
you
by
cut
the
me
way,
off?
Zander, you're always so quiet. I forget you're even there, dude. All right, Zander, do you have any last words? The mic is yours.
I do, Babiker. I just wanted to point out that lately, Tay has been doing a survey, it seems, on Fuwa Novel. He is asking for the opinions of the community members, and I encourage everyone to fill it out if they haven't already. On the,
I have to
by
see B's
following that
response.
annoying green box. But I'm hopeful that there will be some changes in the near future that may lead to some positive results for the site. I'm glad to see him being active, and I think hopefully if we can get some things going with that fancy new recommendation site, if Zaka can stop being a lazy bastard and get some
Zaka, stop being a
replacement
lazy
staff,
bastard.
things might be looking up for Fuwa Novel, despite the fact that its original purpose has kind of died out.
Yeah, you can always find a new purpose.
Yeah, precisely.
You don't have to kill yourself when your purpose is over. That was such a shitty segue. Holy shit.
You do not have to.
Um.
Oh man.
Don't kill yourself, Fuwa Novel members.
Yes, please.
Love
We need
Babiker.
Suicide is not okay.
They just need to put me at.
But guys, I really need to wrap this up because I want to go to the poo and
Okay.
say your fucking goodbyes.
Okay.
Holy
See ya,
shit.
guys. Have a good time, and don't die.
Yes, was an honor to have you, Newts. And Zach and
It
Zander.
was an
B.
honor to be here. Sir.
Same.
See you guys at Raid
My
Soundless.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.
FuwaFM out. Alright, so now you click the square